It's been the soundtrack to our lives. Sounds of freedom, surviving decades of struggles, expressing emotions from pain to sheer joy.
Jazz has survived so many struggles.
It has. Jazz has gone through everything that we've gone through as people. I mean, all of our highs, all of our lows, it expresses it with the note B flat, the note E, all of that, you know. And it's an honor to perform it. It's an honor to tell that story.
Ain't no power like the power of the people.
The most recent stories, the death of George Floyd and calls for justice, and a pandemic that has devastated minority communities, taking with it music legends emblematic of that struggle. For Sean Jones, jazz isn't just a profession, it's personal. Yes, he tours, but he also teaches.
Oh, bop, bop, right?
Preserving the legacy of jazz here at the Peabody Conservatory, located not far from Baltimore's famous jazz district, where clubs like Keystone Korner are usually booming with bent and blue notes. But for now, coronavirus has redefined jazz's call and response.
We've lost now more than a dozen jazz greats to COVID-19, many more within the jazz community.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of heroes, and I heard a quote the other day that every time you lose a legend, you lose a library. Just speaking to those folks, just hearing the stories, what's gone down over the years, hearing their songs, we can never get that back.
That's because Sean either knew or shared the stage with every legend lost to coronavirus. Grammy-winning virtuoso Wallace Roney, pianist and composer Ananje Allen Gums, even the great Ellis Marsalis.
Take a look at that list of musicians there. And as you look at those names, tell me what goes through your head and your heart.
Wow, joy and sadness all in one. I'm looking at my mentors, I'm looking at my friends, I'm looking at inspiration, I'm seeing stories. I'm seeing Bootsy Barnes in Philadelphia when I was a grad student, and I would go up trying to play Cherokee, and he would tell me how sad I was. I hear Ananje's voice on the phone when I recorded a song called Allison, telling me that I have integrity because I didn't play a solo until the very end. And I see Lee Konitz walking into Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola just to hang out and eat a cheeseburger. And gosh, Ellis Marsalis. I see myself with a group of young musicians in San Francisco after we just left the stage, and him telling us stories about when he struggled in New Orleans trying to play music in the 70s, and now we get a chance to play in this big, beautiful hall.
Rich stories that might have never happened. You see, there was another deadly virus that struck the jazz community more than 100 years ago. The 1918 influenza pandemic. It tore through New Orleans, and by some small miracle, there would be a 17-year-old musician who would survive it. His name was Louis Armstrong.
What would have happened to jazz if Louis Armstrong died in that pandemic?
Wow. What would happen if salt was never part of the equation of food? You wouldn't know food the way that you know it now without that element, without salt. Louis Armstrong is the salt of jazz. He's the foundation. So imagine something that important not existing. Would you have elements of the music? Sure you would, but that spirit wouldn't be there. It'd be a completely different thing.
And jazz master Todd Barkan should know. The legendary club owner, jazz curator, and Grammy-winning record producer has seen it all, but never anything like COVID-19 and the impact on these musical masters.
They were great teachers and reachers and preachers in our music, and their message is always with us. I mean, we have to live what they imparted to us. We have to live their lesson. or we're not doing our job.
For Sean Jones, keeping alive the roots and the rhythm is more than a passion, it's a calling.
As a musician, it is my duty to tell the story of COVID-19 sonically, to express the pain that folks are feeling right now, to express the tears that are shed, the anger, the loneliness, the depression. Jazz is going to get us through this in the way that it always has. It's going to allow us to be who we are, unapologetically. It's going to allow us to cry. It's going to allow us to talk to our neighbors again, to dance. That's what jazz is going to do. That's what all music is going to do. It's going to help us survive